Welcome back everyone, it's Stephanie from Glitterful. If you're new, welcome to my channel. If you're looking to learn fun and easy glitter tumbler designs and DIY crafts, start today by subscribing to my channel below. Become that glitterholic and click that notification bell to always know when I upload. Hello everyone. So today, if you guys remember last week's video where we did a Hydro Dip ombre, leopard ombre, this one right here, we're going to take the techniques we learned in that video and we're going to make this beautiful V-Split Hydro Dip tumbler. Look at that. Look at all that gorgeousness. So the tools that you're going to need, the materials are going to be a cup of choice. I'm using a 30-ounce skinny. The skinnies work, they're easier to work with, so try to use a skinny. If you have a modern curve, it's going to take you kind of playing with that tape a little bit, but you could definitely do it. I'm choosing to use my skinny, going the easy route here. The colors that are on this tumbler are MARIAH, which is the silver that we used here, Oh Snap, which is a this color right here in the center, and we use Trinity to showcase this beautiful hydro dip that we did underneath. So really gorgeous. All we did is just kind of bring this up, jazz it up one notch with the with Trinity as the top layer that we use. So really gorgeous. You're gonna need two different size tapes. I use this 2-inch and I have a 1-inch, and then you're gonna need an X-Acto knife, if I can find it. I don't have it in front of me. Oh, right there, an X-Acto knife, and any type of pool that you can have. I also did use polycrylic to I used polycrylic to adhere my glitter, and I used acrylic paints for my base colors. So for example, the pink, I used polycrylic with a dab of acrylic paint. So let's get to it. Let me show you how. All right, guys, so let's get started. You're gonna need the 1-inch tape and your cup already prepped and painted. So my first layer of tape is usually my marker. It's my starting point. I kind of find the center of where my V is going to be, so where my two tapes are going to meet. I try to lay this down as seamless as possible so that I don't have to go down the road and kind of remove the tape and, you know, restructure it, but sometimes that doesn't work. So what I do is I go ahead and lay that down. I use my X-Acto knife. I cut off the edge. And then once I've done that, I'm going to set up my second piece of tape. Now, this is where it becomes tricky because you have to be a little bit meticulous of where you're going to lay that piece down. So I start at the bottom where the two tapes will meet, and I start kind of rearranging that tape. I push it down, I pull it up just so that I can find my perfect V. I then take that marker tape and then I go ahead and I start to set it up again. So I'm going to refine that center that I initially had and then lay that piece back down so that it's even on both sides of the cup. If you can see that, you see how it now has that perfect V. We don't have too much on one side and not too much on the other. So it actually is perfect. Now this is the part you grab your X-Acto knife and you need to make a precise cut to make the V, not mark it, to make the V. So you're going to kind of outline a little bit there and then make sure that you're pulling and it's a very clean line. So it's very important that you're using a new X-Acto blade because if not, then it's going to come out a little bit jagged and it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to have that crisp line. So now you grab your 2-inch tape and you're going to tape off the center V, because we are going to do our hydro dip, guys. And this actually works well for you too if you're deciding to do the V cup and then maybe you're spray painting the outside a different color. This is just to protect your layers. So my center, I don't want anything on it, so I'm making sure that it's taped off. Alrighty, guys, so you want to have some gloves, you want to have your water. Mine has a lot of gunk in it, don't mind it. And some paper towel. Your color choices, mine is going to be Seaside. I'm going to be using Sun Yellow and Magenta. So I'm going to go ahead and start spraying that in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go in and start twisting and shake it off, guys. And then you get your beauty right there. Let's dump out that water that we may have. You want to shake this off. Be very careful with your plastic cover, guys, because I kind of smeared some of my paint there. So just an FYI on that. You want to give this like a couple of seconds so it can drip off any water you may have. And after you've given that a couple seconds, you can go ahead and with your paper towel kind of go to those areas of water. And you just want to dab your you want to go ahead and dab your paper towel into those pockets of water, just like so, very light. Some of these are pockets of paint, so you don't want to go and smudge. You just like want to go and let the napkin kind of do its thing. All right, so let me go ahead and do that, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, guys, so we have our beauty here. She is dry, and we're going to be adding our imposter color called Trinity, which is an opal color. And what this does is it allows you to put this beautiful glitter, and you're still gonna see everything underneath that we've hydro dipped. So this step is completely optional, but I just love the idea of the opal glitter just letting this design really pop. So I am going to be using Trinity for this, and we are going to not use Mod Podge or the epoxy method for application. We're going to be using polycrylic. So this stuff is awesome. You don't need a lot, and it dries so quickly, so you're able to do more in less time. So it's exciting. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and use a foam brush. I go straight from the can, and you just want to go ahead and pull up and down this cup. Now you do not need a lot, so like you do not want this stuff swishing from side to side, like not enough that like it's movable. Okay, again, just think of it like when you're applying epoxy or you're putting Mod Podge. With epoxy, you just want enough that it can adhere. Okay, the same rule with Mod Podge. Remember, do not add too much that there's any humps. Same deal. This stuff you need very, very little. You just want to make sure it's applied everywhere. Okay, don't want to get any on my tape here because I don't want to lose out on any tape. I'm in love with the way this came out. So stinking gorgeous. All right, I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna grab paper towel here. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and apply Trinity so you guys can see how this color, this imposter really allows you. So like if you're having trouble doing ombres, you want to check out our imposter collection because you can literally spray paint your ombre and then do one of these gorgeousness on your cup. And there you go. You have an ombre. You have a glitter ombre. You know, especially if you're new and you're starting out and you're just like, I hate ombres. You can so cheat an ombre by doing that, by using one of our imposters. So take a look. All that hard work that you did applying your, doing your hydro dip, you don't even have to worry. It's still, you can still see the entire design underneath, and that's what I love about it. This is like giving it such a cute look here. I'm in love. All right, so I'm gonna put this stuff away. I'm gonna let this sit and dry for at least 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna pull up the tape. Alrighty guys, so we've let this sit and spin. Take a look at this gorgeousness. All right, so we have, I was a little excited, so I pulled off the tape that we had here. This is still on, so I'm leaving this part on. I just took off the bigger pieces, as you can see, the thicker ones, off that top. We're going to be using a little cup. We're gonna go back to our polycrylic because it works fabulous. And it's gonna make our process of glittering just a tad bit easier. I'm gonna pour some of that polycrylic onto inside of that cup. Okay, I'm gonna use a little bit of acrylic paint so that I can give this a base, give this color a base here. Let's see. Not enough that I'm just changing the color. I mean, changing changing basically the chemical reaction. What I'm just doing is just to create a base, a color. I'm gonna be using this little brush. Try not to get it onto anything else, guys. So again, I'm just giving the polycrylic some color. As you could see, it's actually, it needs just a little bit more. I want it to be more pinky. Just the wonderful thing about polycrylic is that it dries clear, so you're not having to worry about the, like, is it gonna look funky? The only way it's gonna look weird is if you have way too much, okay? If it's clumpy and you're not careful of how you're putting it on, how you're applying it. So I'm just making sure I really have no humps. With a brush like this, you can actually see, and the color that you're applying, you can really see where the humps are. So just applying it there until you're happy. And this again, it's just gonna go from it having been a white base to now having some sort of pink, okay? And that's what I want, because my next color here is called Oh Snap, and I'm gonna show it to you. It's gorgeous, and she is pink, so she deserves a pink base so that all her glory kind of really pops out there. some glitter on there. So stinking cute. Look at that. Okay, so leave that to the side. I'm gonna grab my little handy dandy paper. Before that, let me show you guys Oh Snap real quick. This is Oh Snap. It was literally just released last week. Look at that. So gorgeous. This a vibrant pink. I cannot. I'm gonna uncap it here for a second. I'm gonna go ahead and add that on. I cannot deal with how perfect this is. So just like any other application of chunky glitter, I am going to go ahead and pat it down. If you watched my chunky applications, then you know, like, I don't like to just leave it peering up. Why? Because once you start applying your epoxy, it seeps into those crevices. So you don't want that, okay? Look how gorgeous that is. Look how stinking cute. All right, so we're just gonna let this sit. Give it a couple minutes. Give it about 5 minutes. This thing dries up really quickly. So let's wait to see how this looks. Alrighty guys, so we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna add some polycrylic to a little cup. We're gonna add a little bit of a gray base, because for this part we're gonna be using MARIAH. And take a look at how gorgeous MARIAH is. She is a GG original, which means you're gonna have a bunch of beautiful coverage, but this one is just extraordinary because she really is almost like a disco ball. She's pure diva. So let's go ahead and remove the tape. And you're gonna have to be very gentle with this part, guys, because you do not want to lift all of your like, you don't want to lift any paint. Look at that. Look at those crisp lines. I'm pulling this off very gently. Very gently. Gonna go to the other side. Look at that. So gorgeous. All right. So let me put this down. And let's set up our polycrylic. So I'm putting that into my medicine cup. I'm going to be adding some of that silver metallic acrylic paint and just really mixing that in there so that I, again, give a base for my glitters. I'm using a square tip brush, and I'm just trying to ensure that we're going to stay within those lines. So the square tip really helps with helping me guide up to those edges so that I don't go into either side of my glitter. So I'm not like going onto the Hydro Dip side. I'm not touching the pink chunky. I am literally just going onto that V there. So you're just adding the polycrylic just as you would if you were using Mod Podge or, you know, using epoxy, but I just find that the polycrylic just allows me more lead time, but also it allows me to kind of play with it without too many errors. So I am going to be using, again, a paper to capture my glitter, and I'm using a MARIAH right in the center, and I just felt like MARIAH, again, with her diva accents, I think she's perfect. All right, so once your cup has dried, and literally polycrylic dries so quickly, so it really needs like 10 minutes, honestly. So one thing I forgot to show on here is that I did go ahead and seal my cup entirely with triple thick. So you can use any clear sealer, whatever works for you. I used triple thick. I did 3 sprays. I waited about 5 to 10 minutes in between each spray, and then I let it sit for about 20 minutes so it can fully dry. And then now I'm adding my first coat of epoxy. Once my first layer of epoxy is finished and dried, I'm adding my second layer here. Before I can add any vinyl, you need to have a smooth surface, so a second layer was definitely necessary, and I never sand my cup on the first layer. So this is just another tip for you guys. Do not sand on your first layer. Ensure you have at least 2 layers of epoxy on your cup. Hey guys, okay, so I've added my second layer of epoxy. My thing is smooth enough, my cup is smooth enough, but I do have some rougher edges here, which is expected with chunky glitter. So I do have my my sandpaper. So we just want to go ahead and sand down the cup to get it smooth. So do that all around the cup. Okay guys, so once you're done sanding, you want to get a piece of paper and or a microfiber cloth with your alcohol and spritz that down so that we can take away any residue. You do not, listen to me guys, you do not want to sand on your first layer of epoxy. The reason you don't want to do that is because you can scratch your glitter. So you want to make sure that this is on, you only start sanding on your second coat, okay? So, ooh, look at this gorgeousness. All right, so I am not going to be using I'm going to be using, I'm sorry. I'm going to be using my little lines that I have here. I have my X-Acto knife nearby, which you're going to need, guys. I have your X-Acto knife ready. We're going to go ahead and start adding our, strips here. Okay, so with the vinyl, it's going to be a little bit more trickier, guys. So you just want to kind of bend that to the side there. And, oops. You want to line it up as best as you can. So we made these 11.5 long. So I'm just going to give it some little bit of give there because we can always cut that off. Oops. And I'm kind of just following where that line is and I'm pulling at the vinyl there. I'm not pulling it hard because once vinyl is stretched, it's kind of a pain in the rear. But I want to make sure that it's being covered as best as it can. So hold on a second. Myself some more wiggle room. And kind of being the divider between where the two glitter lines meet. I hope that makes sense. See how that got crooked? I'm gonna pull this off. See, unlike washi tape, guys, this becomes a little bit trickier because once you pull vinyl, like I did kinda, I don't know if you guys can see that, like right there, it starts to look a little wonky. So you just wanna make sure that, that you're not pulling as much as I did. All right, I'm gonna leave you guys off a little bit here. All right, I met my line here. I started actually at the bottom here because this one was giving me a little bit of trouble. And I kind of kept this up mid-air, okay? And then I'm laying, as I'm following that line, and I'm happy where it's meeting. And bam, diggity, look at that. Bam diggity, guys. Just like so, all right? And then we'll cut this off in a minute. I'm not really worried about that. Let's go off to this side. So, found it easier to go from the bottom. Again, you're gonna have to kind of find your strokes. Sometimes I find it easier to go from the top. Other times I find it easier to go from the bottom. It just depends on my day. Okay, so once the tape was stopped being temperamental with me, I again took it off entirely from the strip, from the backing, and I'm starting again, meeting it at the bottom. I'm okay with that overlay. We'll fix that with our X-Acto knife. I'm kind of keeping it up mid-air so that I can kind of see and angling it out where I'm going to be pulling this strip up to, so that basically I'm guiding it to be straight. See? Take a look at that. All right, we're gonna leave that bad boy there. I felt like navy was gonna be the perfect color for this. I had to ask my hubby if he liked the colors. All right, let's do this again. Same thing, but now we're going to meet the middle lines, okay? So we went ahead and we have our little danglies here. So let's go ahead and use our X-Acto knife and cut these babies off. You just want to go ahead and pull it off in an angle just like so. Okay, so remember these funky little V's here? Let's go ahead and make this pretty. So you just want to grab your X-Acto knife. Using a brand new X-Acto knife is going to help. This one is a little bit dull, but I just put it in, but I use it for all the crap, so sorry guys. So using a brand new one would help a lot, but if you don't have one, totally fine. See? All right, and you're angling this, so you're making that V, you're perfecting it. So for this last line here, I'm gonna match it up to the line that we have, and I'm gonna create that V there. See? I hope you guys are watching and can see what I'm doing. All right, lifting that a little bit and seeing, bam, you created that V, guys. Look at that. Look how gorgeous. So basically the same thing. So this is my overlapping one of the two. So I'm gonna wait to do that one last. I wanna go ahead and get this one right here, which is the one underneath. And then we're going to get this last piece here. Beautiful. All right, perfect. Let's get this bad boy under epoxy. So there you have it, guys. Look at this gorgeousness. I can't deal. Isn't she gorgeous? So easy to do. I shouldn't say easy, but so fun to do for sure. Get creative with it, guys. I can't wait to see what you create with this design. Don't forget to tag us on Instagram of your creations. I'd love to see them. We repost, you guys. They make me so excited. Follow us on Facebook and on Instagram, and don't forget to get this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already, guys. I'm so happy that you were here with me today. I hope to see y'all in the beautiful crafting group, Glitter Tumbler Epoxy Hacks, Beginners to Advanced. And I'll see y'all soon. Have a glitterful day. Bye.